This prime looking specimen is my new to me 2018 Yamaha MT-09. And because it is such a beautiful day to ride a motorcycle, I figured that we should do exactly that and go for a ride and do a one take while we're at it, which is exactly like it sounds. It means that I've now pushed record on this camera. We're going to jump on it, go for a ride, talk about it, and after that, a few minutes later, we'll turn the camera off and that will be the video. There'll be no cuts, no editing, which if you've ever seen any of my videos, you'll know is something I'm going to struggle with. That's not how I usually do them. Personally, I absolutely love editing. It's one of my passions. And I am terrible at talking to a camera, and as you'll find out now, I'm very good at stumbling over my words. So as a result, my videos are always scripted and always a voiceover because I do stumble over my words. And now we have a helicopter trying to ruin my video. Okay, he's fluttering away. We can get back to it. So yes, there will be no cuts, which usually the challenge for me is the editing. That's the part I enjoy, or writing a script. But today the challenge is going to be trying to record a video in one take without screwing it up, which isn't very easy. We do of course have two cameras. We've got the GoPro on the chin, and I have this Insta360 camera on the back here, just so that we do have two angles to switch between, to make it slightly less boring while I mumble along and you pretend to listen. So I think that this is probably the cleanest bike, actually the second cleanest bike I've ever had, because of course my 390 Duke that I just sold was also a 2018, but that was practically new when I got it, and 100% stock. That was very clean, but this isn't far off. I can literally point out to you the two flaws that it has. The first one is on this fake intake cover here. We've got a scratch there and a scratch on the sticker here. Nothing too big, but you definitely notice it. But the worst one, if we take the long way around, if you look at the display here, there's a fairly sizable crack running through it, which you probably saw in the reveal video because it doesn't hide itself very well. I'm not sure how people do this. This is actually about the fourth... Are you trying to kill me? It's like 30,000 meters here and you try and kill me. Interesting. What was I saying? So this is actually about the third or fourth MT-09 I've seen with a crack here. So clearly it's easy to do, even though I'm not sure how you would even attempt it. It's also not that terrible because this is just a cover. You could just replace this piece of plastic if it bothered you, which it kind of bothers me, but we'll live with it for now. And yeah, those are pretty much the two imperfections. I think it looks absolutely awesome. The one thing that is bothering me now, that I defended in my reveal video, is this number plate bracket. Obviously there are always going to be millions of comments telling me to remove this, and this past weekend I actually tried, and now I have a different narrative about it. Because if you take a look here, it comes down and it joins into the swing arm where your axle block would usually be. So the axle goes through this bar, and this piece acts as the axle block. It's in place of it. So as a result, this is very thick, so as a result the axle is now longer. So if you were to remove it, first you would need a replacement axle block, and then this axle would be too long, so you would then need a shorter axle. It's not too difficult because obviously the first gen, 2014 I think to 2016, they didn't have this, so you can just buy one for that, which I've now ordered from Yamaha, and it'll come in the coming weeks. But what a pain. I mean, I defended them saying that it does clean up the look of the tail, which it does, but you can't make something that difficult to remove. Everybody knows that you love removing number plate brackets, but nevertheless, I think that's it. Now we can jump on and go for a ride. First we gotta listen to the exhaust. First we gotta find neutral. There we go. So this is my Scorpion slip-on. And no, I haven't got bored of that exhaust note yet. There's something pretty satisfying about the CP3. So I've also slowly started to make it my own. I've got my phone mount here, so I can navigate to places. I've also got rid of the mirrors, as you might have noticed, and I've got these little round bar end ones. They're not my favorite, but I had them in the cupboard. They were actually on my previous MT-09 that I had in the UK, so they've already experienced the thrill of riding on an MT-09. Don't mind me. Sounds good under here though. But that is hopefully just the start of the changes. We first have to do our COVID friendly boom activation. Which way should we go? Should we go left for a change? Let's go this way. Oh, it does sound good. So like I said, this is a Scorpion slip-on. So it's got the stock headers, just the slip-on, which is awesome because it's actually a really affordable way to get rid of the catalytic converter, most of the silencing. So now it's a very decent level, sounds absolutely awesome, breathes better, and it, like I said, it's not that expensive. So on my last MT-09 in the UK, I had that full system Akropovich exhaust, which personally, it did grow on me, I'm not gonna lie, but they are massive. They don't save much weight, but they're obviously still trying to abide by all the noise laws, which this one doesn't as much, and I absolutely love it. And I'm actually pretty fond of the Scorpion exhaust for two reasons. So the first one is Scorpion is a British company, and if you know my story, you'll know that I spent 6-ish months in the UK. All my family is now in the UK, so I do have ties in the UK, so I kind of like that aspect. So when I found it for sale with this exhaust on it, I thought maybe it's meant to be, which, if you believe in that sort of stuff, which I always do when buying a motorbike, because every little sign telling you that you should have it is a good one in my opinion. The second reason is my friend in the UK that I used to ride with, he bought an MT-07 not long after I arrived. So we used to ride around, me on my MT-09, him on his MT-07, and we were just the MT crew. And when he got it, it had a stock exhaust, and he always said he was going to buy the Scorpion exhaust for it, which he never did while I was there. But not long after I left, he finally bit the bullet and he bought the Scorpion exhaust. So I've seen it in pictures and I've heard it in videos, but unfortunately I've never seen it in person. So I kind of enjoyed sending him a picture of my new bike and saying that we had matching exhausts. It does sound good. It also accentuates the sound of the quick shifter. Fine algo, geez, I'm not gonna argue. So as you can see, or as you can hear rather, you can hear the quick shifter every time you change gear. And it's way more pronounced if you're on the throttle. If you're accelerating quite hard, it makes a really nice sort of like a VW DSG gearbox noise. How good is that? So if you're just accelerating slowly like this, it just changes gears. It's really boring. You don't have to shut off, but it doesn't make a cool noise. Whereas if you just slightly open the throttle, you just sort of blip it as you upshift, it makes that noise without having to accelerate hard. Listen. Oh. So obviously you will use more fuel like that, but it sounds epic. So as long as you learn all the tricks, you can still be stuck in traffic and enjoy your quick shifter. I think you're smoking a bit there, mate. Why is it every time we turn the camera on for one take, we have the worst possible traffic? Good thing I'm not too fond of the laws. And that is how we end up usually cutting stuff out, because I say inappropriate things like that. But nevertheless, we'll avoid that and move on to the suspension, because if you know anything about MT-09s, you'll know that one of the most criticized aspects of them is, of course, the suspension. So on my last one in the UK, that was the first gen, it had an Öhlins rear shock and Andreani 4 cartridges in the forks. So I couldn't really tell you how good or bad the stock suspension was, because it was pretty damn good. I never complained about it. For the second gen, this one, Yamaha did refine it. I'm not too sure what the changes they made were, but I did notice when I got it that the rear shock is very wallowy when you're trying to go through higher speed corners. So So over the weekend I did turn up the preload, so I made it stiffer. Of course that isn't sort of the best way to go about trying to fix the problem, but when that is the only adjustment on the shock, it's kind of all you can do. The front has more adjustment. It has preload, compression on the left, and I think it has rebound on the right. So I tinkered with those a bit. That wasn't really my problem. The main problem was the rear shock. So that is now stiffer, which kind of works for me. It definitely feels better. It doesn't wallow through higher speed corners like it did previously. The only reason I think that that works is because I weigh 60 kilos. So turning it up makes it stiffer, and it's almost completely maxed out actually, which at 60 kilos it shouldn't be. If you weigh 100 kilos, I really do feel sorry for you. Then you probably do need to spend the extra money and get an Öhlins shock. I never get tired of that noise. The other reason you can tell that I've made it more of my own is because there's hardly any petrol in there now. That's always how you can tell that it's your bike, because you've actually been riding it. The one thing I thought I might struggle with when getting back on a big bike was the weight. You know, that the little 390 Duke was so easy to ride through corners because it didn't weigh anything. It was so flickable. But I have to say, this, with its strange suspension, and despite the fact that it's not a sport bike, it is very light. It's very flickable, and it does sort of feel like as soon as you lean it over, it does want to lean a bit more. And then we ran out of road. But at least no one should bother us here. Well, oh, we got run over in the beginning, so it'll probably be just as bad here. But that's it. Now we have gone for a ride together on the MT-09. Well, as close as we can get. Oh no! We killed a butterfly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. So other than that, it still needs a few pieces. We need to remove these stickers, and we need to get a tank pad for it. But I don't want to remove them until I have some form of protection here. I don't want to scratch the tank. I also haven't got around to buying paddock stand bobbins for it, so in the meantime I just have rudimentary bolts, but hey, they do the job in the meantime. Like I said, I ordered what I need to remove that thing. We got rid of the mirrors. The other thing I do want to do, or one thing I've wanted to do to a bike for quite a while, is to powder coat the wheels. So I do love these blue wheels, but I've always wanted to powder coat wheels like a burnt bronze, similar to this. So this is like, I assume it's the end of your crank cover or something, and the valve cover is the same color. It's sort of a very dark burnt bronze, and I think if we made the wheels that color, it would be very unique and would be pretty cool. Everybody else goes for like that Lumo yellow. That wouldn't work with the blue, although plenty of people do it, but I really don't like it. So let me know what you think. I wouldn't mind doing that. And what else do you think we should do to it? But anyway, thank you so much for coming for a ride with me. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see more bikes on the channel with this type of video. Tell me what I got wrong without editing, and I'll see you on the next ride.